find a way to win. You find a way to lose. I'm getting ready to go exercise, so I figured I'd go live during the drive and talk a little bit about Jermell, Charlo, and Tszyu. Let me close this. Let me tell y'all something. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tszyu is proven to be a real threat up at 154 pounds. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I gotta be honest. I did not think Tszyu. I didn't think there was anything special about Tszyu, but I have to admit that Tszyu is a real threat. He's a real threat, and I just have to call it like I see it. Now against Tony Harrison, I didn't really give him much credit for that fight because obviously Tony Harrison going over there to Australia, I think he was just, getting his last payday. His heart is in training. He was more like vacationing and knew he was going to get a couple million for that fight, okay? But in addition to that, when I saw the size of the ring, I mean, we talk about fighting in a phone booth. Like, that was really like in a matchbox, you know what I'm saying? So everything was really set up to give an advantage to the style of fighting that Tszyu brings to the ring. So I didn't give Harrison a whole lot of I didn't give the Harrison win a whole lot of credit because to me, Tszyu, it's almost like they arranged that. But that being said, for Ocampo last night, I'm watching that. I mean, damn, it's like the first shot. And I'm trying to process what I'm seeing. Ocampo just stood in front of him. Now I know Ocampo is a guy, I call it the mash-up, crash-up style. He's coming in there to fight. He's not trying to tickle you. He's not Tony Harrison. He's not trying to play games in there and outbox you and worry about ring generalship, stay on the outside. He's not looking to do that, make you miss, pop shot you. That's not Ocampo's style. I really felt Ocampo was going to bring a different element to the ring last night, which would have given him a good chance on winning, especially seeing that I think he's 13-1 since the loss to Earl Spence. But I'm gonna be honest with you, when Tszyu hit him, I saw how his body responded, and I said, "Wow." At some point, okay, we gotta start giving Tszyu some credit. It's just like with Danny Garcia. When Danny Garcia was fighting at 140. There were some people who didn't really want to give him credit, but you know what? He just kept winning. He kept knocking people out, and he went up to 147 and he kept winning. And yeah, he ran into Thurman, Porter, and Earl Spence, and he had some issues there. But what I'm getting at is, at some point, you had to stop and say, you know what? We got to give Danny Garcia some credit. He can fight, and I think it's the same thing with Tszyu. Now, Tszyu against Jermell Charlo. I have to say this. I gotta say this. I gotta be fair. I personally think Charlo wins that fight, but I do think Tszyu is a threat. However, I don't think Tszyu will be able to do to Charlo what he did to Harrison and what he did to Ocampo. And the reason I don't think he's going to be able to do that is because Charlo isn't going to Australia to fight him, and Charlo's not going to be fighting him in no damn matchbox. Jermell Charlo is a boxer puncher. He's not going to be in the ring, in a super small ring, that's going to play to the advantages of the style of fighting that Tszyu brings to the ring. He's not going to do that. He's not going to let that happen. I don't care what anyone says. As a result, I think Charlo is going to just, jab him, be smart, drop the right hand there on occasion, fall in with that forearm, work the free hand. And I think he's going to stop Tszyu. But I'll tell you this, if for some reason, because I was watching Tszyu doesn't seem to really get tired. And Charlo, because of his work rate, who knows when you get into that deep water, who knows if Tszyu can just kind of catch up to him just enough to land one of those big shots. Because Brian Castano, he was giving Jermell all he could handle. That's just being honest. And Brian Castano I think is smaller than Tszyu. I don't think he has I think his reach is significantly shorter than Tszyu. But Brian Castaño's whole thing was very similar to Tszyu, but I think Brian Castaño is a better overall fighter. He'll cut that ring off, he gets in, and then Brian Castaño is letting off combinations and hooks. And that's one of the things that Tszyu does not do. He doesn't let off combinations like Brian Castaño. Brian Castaño is going to throw 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 punches, and 1 or 2 are going to land. Tszyu is more, you know, let off one, maybe a jab and right hand, but he's not really unloading unless he gets you hurt, which we saw that last night, man. He said, I would like to see Dillian White versus Jermell. Yeah, that would be a good fight too. But I think stylistically, Jermell Charlo has all the advantages. The problem is, Tszyu's been active. Tszyu's been training. He's had 2 fights. Charlo has not done anything. We know he had the injury, I think it was to his hand. I know that he's probably feeling a little bit of stress, a little bit of misery, anxiety, with everything that his twin brother's going through as well. And we know that twins do have a special connection. But for him to come after being inactive and almost a year out the ring, maybe more than a year out the ring, and to come and fight a guy like Tszyu, let me tell you, that could be problematic for Charlo. And you know what's the biggest thing that I noticed about Tszyu? The one thing I noticed about Tszyu has all the confidence in the world. He has all the confidence in the world. And when you have that kind of confidence and you're getting ready to go into a ring, the biggest fight, the biggest fight of your life, it's going to take something special from Jermell Charlo to put on Tszyu early in that fight, to kill his confidence, to discourage him, to make him think twice. Because if Jermell Charlo can't do that, Jermell Charlo's he's going to be in rough. Because a guy with that find a way to win mentality, someone who's never lost, doesn't know how to lose, someone who knows they have power, they just need to land one shot. If you get in there with them, and he's fighting for his dad, family legacy, and Charlo is too, don't get me wrong, but I'm just telling you, I do not think it's an easy fight. I think the inactivity for Charlo has played to Tszyu. I think Tszyu benefited from Charlo's inactivity. Because if Tszyu, because when he came and fought in the States, he got dropped early in the fight. And what that did is, it probably affected his confidence a little bit. I think it took a little bit away from his confidence. But at the end of the day, he ended up getting a knockout. So he goes back now, he has 2 more knockouts, 2 more stoppages. So whatever little bit of doubt he may have had as a result of that, getting that knockdown when he came to the States, I personally think all that's gone. If anything, it made him realize, you know what? I can persevere, I've got the chin, and I've got the will to win. And when he puts that together against an opponent, I think it's going to be hard to beat a guy like Tszyu. But if Charlo can box and punch, I think he has a good chance to win. But standing there trading, that doesn't seem to be that may not play to the advantage of Jermell Charlo. And the reason I say that is because a guy like Castaño, who I don't think Castaño hits as hard as Tszyu. Castaño didn't drop Jermell, but he buckled his knees twice, and even in that second fight, you know, he buzzed him a couple times. So all I'm saying is for Jermell Charlo, he's got to be very careful with what he's doing. Now, the other thing that could be a motivating factor is the 4-for-1 deal. Y'all always hear me talking about the 4-for-1 deal, man. These undisputed champions with these 4 belts. Hey, the stars line up for their challenger. It's a no-brainer. Go in there and fight to the death and try to pick up all 4 belts for one fight. You know, the chances that these guys will ever have, another opportunity to fight for an undisputed distinction will probably never happen, especially when guys start dropping belts. And now you got an individual who picks up 1 belt, but he has to figure out a way to pick up the other 3. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, you know, or it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years down the road. Because, you know, promoters, they have their own agendas, fighters have their own agendas, the sanctioning bodies have their own agendas, and what makes it all even worse, kind of look at what's going on with Teofimo Lopez. Damn, Teofimo Lopez, the WBO, they allow him a year to just sit back and basically think about what he wants to do. He doesn't have to defend the title for a year. So if you look at that across the sanctioning bodies, the fact that they allow their fighters to go a year or so without defending the belt, I mean, hell, that right there, you figure that's 4 years, depending on how the other champions want to fight. That could be easily 4 years of no unifications. You know what I'm saying? It's really ridiculous the way that it's all set up, but we know how it goes when it comes to the secret society. But that being said, we'll see what's going on at 154. I do think Jermell Charlo against Tszyu has become even more interesting. I'm just being honest with you. I think that's an interesting fight. I don't think Jermell's just going to go in there and just, walk through him. I did think that before. I honestly thought that before he would walk right through him. I do not think that anymore. Tszyu has something special. And I compared Tszyu, I was comparing him to Dillian Whyte last night. And what I was saying, I'm not saying he and Dillian Whyte are the same fighters. No, not at all. What I'm saying is, Dillian Whyte is another guy who there doesn't seem to be any bells and whistles to Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte just seems to be a guy who comes in the ring and then he just was getting wins. Now, of course, in the last couple of years, we saw that he's taken some damage and he's had some losses. But before that, when he was trying to fight Deontay Wilder, Dillian Whyte was just knocking people out, man. Beating Parker, Lucas Brown. I mean, he was in there winning fights that I honestly didn't think he could win. Even when he fought Povetkin. That first fight, he just, lost focus for a minute, got tranquilized. And then he comes back, and of course, Povetkin had COVID and everything, but he knocked him out. But what I'm getting at is, you learn with Dillian Whyte that, man, if he hits you with that left hook especially, you're out of here. And that made Dillian Whyte a threat for any opponent. And you saw, look at the position Dillian Whyte's in now. I mean, he's one of the top heavyweights. Yeah, of course, we know he probably won't beat AJ if they fight in August. He already lost to Fury. He sure as hell ain't beating Wilder. What I'm saying is, we learned about Dillian Whyte, there's something special. But Tszyu, I think that's kind of the point we're at with Tszyu, where we're learning, man, that there's something special about Tszyu. And I think if he doesn't fight Jermell Charlo next, if he goes on and takes another fight, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to favor Tszyu. Because I realize that if he hits you, it's a problem. Like, you really can't play around with Tszyu. You can't. He hits hard, man. He hit that Australian, he's got it. And I think this is him having those fights while Charlo was Charlo's been inactive. Those fights have really helped build the profile of Tszyu. Before, his profile, it wasn't that big. In Australia, it was huge. Of course, his dad's Tszyu. You know what I'm saying? And out there, and probably throughout some places out there in Europe, his name was probably a little bit bigger. But stateside, we all know the last name, but no one really knew much about him. But what we're seeing is now his profile has grown. His profile has grown exponentially to where us in the States now recognize the threat that he is at 154 pounds. That being said, good luck to Jermell Charlo. We'll see what kind of plan they put together. But I'm telling you, I hope Jermell Charlo takes this fight serious, because he's not going to come in and walk through Tszyu. And I don't care what anyone says. When you sit back and watch one of your future opponents or your next opponent, when you watch them knock people out like that, that plays on your mind. Just like Tszyu knows Jermell Charlo can knock him out. But he's got to get in the ring and just see what Jermell brings to the table. And they got to feel each other out. And, feel each other's power and see about the speed. And then they'll kind of have an idea of what they can and can't do. It's kind of like Regis Prograis last night. Regis Prograis, man, he got the wake-up call last night, didn't he? Pennant says, I would like to see, they say Charlo by stoppage. It says, can a heavyweight boxer fight like a welterweight? I would like to see Dempsey McKean versus Carlos Takam. Yeah, Dempsey McKean and Carlos Takam would be a good fight too, man. But a heavyweight fight like a welterweight, yeah, I would say so for sure. A heavyweight can definitely do it, man. I mean, you had Chris Byrd out there, even Roy Jones. He fought as a heavyweight for a little bit. You got guys like Usyk who are floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. So it's, to me, yeah, it's very, it's more than feasible for a heavyweight to fight like a welterweight or a lightweight. So yeah, no doubt about that. But I'm here, man. I'm about to go. Let me see something quick. I'm about to go out here and exercise. It's hot, man. It is hot. But I think Charlo. I think Charlo can. He should be able to get that win. I just don't think it's gonna be as easy as what I thought initially. Not at all. I think it's gonna be tough for Jermell Charlo, and you got to be 100% focused, man. It says Tszyu's the GOAT. Tszyu's special, man. There's something there to Tim Tszyu. That's all I can say. Anyone who doesn't want to give Tim Tszyu credit, they're wrong. It's just like anyone not at this point in time. I'm gonna be honest with you. Tim Tszyu deserves credit. Happy Father's Day to you guys too, man. Happy Father's Day to you all too. I try to get my sons out here to work out, man. They didn't want to come. But Tim Tszyu deserves credit. After watching Regis Prograis get dropped last night and not know what to do the entire fight, Regis Prograis was totally lost. I give Teofimo Lopez a lot more credit. I give Tank Davis a whole lot of credit. And I give Devin Haney a whole lot of credit. Because to watch those guys fight, man, and because I thought I said Regis Prograis would destroy all those guys. I don't think that way no more. But I think we're at a point where we're going to see a transition. We're going to see these guys start to go on now, and guys retire or become gatekeepers. I think it's over. The run that these guys had, I think it's over, man. I think this next generation is going to start taking over. And Teofimo Lopez, I know he said he retired. He's not retired because he didn't give up his damn WBO belt. He's holding on to that belt for a year. He'll figure it out. He'll get some good opportunities. He'll come back. But I'm telling you right now, I think Teofimo Lopez, I think he beats Regis Prograis. I think Devin Haney will beat Regis Prograis. Ryan Garcia, I'm not sure about. And I think Adrian Broner has a real good chance against Regis Prograis. But then again, styles make fights. And that guy that Regis was fighting last night was more of a boxer. But he had power. And Regis, once he felt that power, he didn't want to get hit anymore. But it was just an awful fight for me to watch because both guys were afraid to get hit. And it was just stylistically, Eddie Hearn to put Regis Prograis in position to fight in New Orleans for his DAZN debut fight. Eddie Hearn dropped the ball, putting him in there with that kind of fighter. He should have put him in there with a fighter to where Regis Prograis could have looked phenomenal. And he didn't do that. I'm out here, man. So it's crazy. What was that? Let me see something. I would like to see Joshua and Wilder. I'm going to tell you what, man. Joshua and Wilder are going to happen. Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of who are they going to fight in the interim? Because Wilder, could potentially take a fight, in August, September, just like AJ. But AJ fighting Dillian White, I think with AJ being in between, kind of being aggressive and being a boxer puncher and being defensively minded and more skillful, I don't know, that may give Dillian White a chance to upset the apple cart. You know what I'm saying? It may give Dillian White a chance to beat AJ. So I don't know why Eddie Hearn would just put AJ in there with Dillian White. I don't know what Eddie Hearn's thinking, but at the end of the day, I think AJ should get through him. But if AJ and Wilder fight, I definitely feel Wilder's going to defeat AJ. I think it's going to be a vicious knockout, And Wilder's been doing a lot of work, a lot of training. I'm watching his clips. And it's just hitting mitts and stuff, but, he's looking sharp. He's looking fast, but I would like to see Deontay Wilder get back in the ring. But I just think it hurts those guys because Skills Challenge Promotion, which Deontay Wilder has now signed with Skills Challenge Promotion out of Saudi Arabia. He's a free agent, and he works, still working with Al Heyman, but now he's over there with Skills Challenge Promotions. But all that money has just messed up everything, It's messed up the matchmaking. It's messed up making fights. Because these fighters recognize that they can stay out the ring for a year, go have one fight over there in Saudi, and in that one fight in Saudi, make more money than they would have made fighting 3 times in the United States. You know what I'm saying? You can't fault him really, but at the same time, the inactivity. So I'm not. I can't blame these guys for getting money. Go out there. You got a short shelf life as a boxer, but it makes me wonder. Like, I mean, so after you have the one fight in Saudi, what's next? Make as much money as possible. I used to talk a lot about Austin Trout. Because Austin Trout, man, once he beat Miguel Cotto, Austin Trout fought everybody, man. He didn't care if he lost or not. But he fought. He rode that wave and he fought as many people as he could. Austin Trout, after he fought Cotto, Austin Trout made like $25 million just fighting a bunch of fighters, both Charlos. He fought a lot of fights, man. But he made his money. And he didn't care if he lost. He just wanted to fight. And I call that striking while the iron's hot. He struck while the iron's hot and made a lot of money. But these other guys, I'm not sure what's going on, man. I know Kinahan is still involved in boxing. Read an article about that. But to me, I don't know. I don't even know what to think anymore, because you look at those scorecards even for Regis Prograis last night. I really think there's so much corruption in boxing, man. It's hard for me to really give an assessment or try to analyze anything anymore, because nothing makes any sense. They're forcing Devin Haney. They're forcing Devin Haney to fight Lomachenko a second time. Like, that's coming. It really is coming. I'm telling you, if Devin Haney doesn't want to take the offer that's going to come to him from Top Rank, I'm telling you what's going to happen. They're gonna make Lomachenko his mandatories again, and then if Devin Haney doesn't take it, he's going to get stripped. So Devin Haney's in a lose-lose situation, because I don't think he wants to fight Lomachenko again. I don't think he should. But that just shows you, man, that I always hear me talking about the secret society. The secret society thing started off as, something that I was serious about, but I rooted it in a lot of humor. But I was always serious about it. That's just what I call the corruption. But you look at what's going on with Devin Haney. That shit is the secret society all the way, man, forcing him into something. You look at what the hell they tried to do. The secret society getting behind Canelo, trying to have Canelo fight Badou Jack. They wanted Badou Jack to come down to 180 pounds, and then he could only rehydrate like 20 pounds. Something that where Badou Jack is just damn near impossible for a weight for him to make and to not rehydrate. So Canelo wanted the upper hand so he could go in there and possibly get a stoppage against Badou Jack and win a cruiserweight title. So it's just foul. It's just bad medicine. You know what I'm saying? A lot of bad medicine. And it's for me as a boxing fan, some of it's entertaining, but some of it just makes me shake my head. Shake my head, because it makes me wonder. You look at boxing back in the day. Matias would beat the dude from last night. Yeah, Matias will beat everybody. I think Matias, we got to see what else he does next, but Matias definitely beats Regis. And that guy, the Puerto Rican guy, Zorilla, I think Matias beats him too. But it makes me wonder, when you look at back in the day with boxers and stuff, there was no catch weights, man. They didn't have all that catch weight crap. They just went in there and fought. You know what I'm saying? That's why Roberto Duran gets so much respect. Because really, he was like 30 pounder or something like that. Up there fighting these guys, man, 154, 160, giving them the business. So small guys like that aren't supposed to do what he did. I get you got Pacquiao with 8 different weight divisions, but I think people still have an opinion about Pacquiao and the legitimacy of his wins, with all the rumors about pads and stuff. But at the end of the day, they got some fighters who are really fighters, and they don't care about these catch weights and rehydration clauses. They come to fight. But I understand boxing is a business, and if somebody wants to, duck and scary tactics. And if somebody wants to, they're the A side, and if the B side fighter wants an opportunity for a huge payday, wants an opportunity to try to pick up a title, well then, you have to accept what I'm proposing to you. And if you don't accept it, well then good luck, and that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. But anyway, man, I'm about to go out here and train, get a little bit of cardio in, then I'm gonna head back to the crib, man, and barbecue. But I'll be back on here later. I just wanted to give y'all a quick little live before I before the day got started, because, man, once the day gets started, it gets crazy. Blame Leonard. He started the movement. Let me tell you something about Leonard Ellaby before I get off of here, right? Leonard Ellaby, let me tell you something. Floyd Mayweather learned something when he was boxing. Floyd Mayweather learned early that those titles don't mean anything. Floyd Mayweather learned that basically I have to pay the sanctioning body to fight for a title. That means I'm buying the title. If I have to give you money in exchange for something, that means I just bought it. And Floyd Mayweather was tired of the whole idea of, why do I have to buy the title? And why do I have to give you so much money out of my fight purse? Now, don't get me wrong, the business of boxing is the business of boxing. I'm sure these sanctioning bodies need to find a way to generate some kind of revenue. But for Floyd Mayweather, I like what he says. And, you're talking about Sugar Ray Leonard, but for Leonard Ellaby, and what those guys say is, it's all about getting as much money as possible. Titles don't matter. If you're a draw and you can fight Joe Blow and make $10 million where there's no threat at all, and you can do that your whole career, that's what they're all about. You know, take a risk here and there, but nothing too crazy. And that's what they did with Tank Davis, man. Yeah, he did open up boxers' eyes. And that's kind of what they did with Tank Davis. Like, don't worry about all those titles and belts and giving these sanctioning fees all your money. We're going to help you become a billionaire. We're going to have you surpass me. And I'm not sure Tank really understood it, what they were trying to do. And that's the difference between a young, inexperienced fighter and someone who's been there and done that and has the t-shirt. Because they can impart all the wisdom they want, but until those guys kind of go through it, they won't understand. And I've had those experiences, you know what I'm saying? I've had those experiences, you know, where I had, I'll put it to you, it's not titles, but it was awards. And I got pissed off because, you know, I was overlooked on a few awards, you know, during my career. But I did receive some, but not everything that I earned. And I had someone tell me, you don't need all that to get promoted. You just need a few. You have what you need. Don't worry about it. And anyway, after about 2 years, I got promoted. Everything worked out, and then I was able to understand what that person was telling me. But when he was telling me at the time, it didn't make sense. But now you see, Gervonta Davis gets it. And let me tell you, Gervonta Davis not worried about becoming no undisputed champion. He just wants to fight and make his money. And Floyd Mayweather did open up their eyes, because you're right. Earl Spence comes out. He's talking about it now. You know what I'm saying? I personally think Earl Spence should have did that behind closed doors, because I think that's going to backfire on him. Because when we talk about the secret society, we talk about corruption in boxing. You know what I'm saying? And these sanctioning bodies and these guys, they don't want anybody talking about that. They don't want anyone to know what they're doing with the money or what they're not doing with the money. They don't want to be put underneath the microscope. They don't want that. And I get it. Earl Spence has a voice. I personally feel that Terrence Crawford is more a go-with-the-flow kind of guy. And that doesn't make him weak. That just makes him, in my opinion, a guy who's been undisputed, a guy who's worked hand-in-hand with Bob Arum for a long time, and a guy who's like, you know what? I have, 5, 6 kids or something like that. I got my family. I come from nothing. I just want to get my money. And I don't want any problems. I just want to get as much money as possible in the next few years, retire. And Earl Spence coming out and making that stand, it almost, in my opinion, it's like he was suggesting, and this is what the problem is. It can be interpreted as him suggesting, hey, you guys don't have any integrity. There's no integrity in this process. And we need to weave some integrity into this process, because the same way Crawford wanted to know where all that money was going, when he first sat down to talk to Earl Spence and Al Heyman, remember, everybody raked Crawford across the coals. Oh, Crawford doesn't know what he's doing. Why is he asking about the money? He's inexperienced. He's greedy. He's this, right? Everybody raked Crawford across the coals. Anyway, Crawford and Spence come back. They have another conversation. They're able to make the fight. Now Spence is doing the same thing Crawford did. Instead of, it was Crawford trying to ask PBC where and Showtime where the money's going. Spence is asking the damn sanctioning bodies where the money's going. And I just think that is I just think if that fight goes to decision, I think Crawford wins. I'll be honest with you. I think they're going to make Crawford the winner, because Crawford's not going to sit there and win the fight and worry about no damn sanctioning fees. He's going to pay his shit and then look to go to 154 or maybe do a rematch. You know, they can't roll the dice on Spence. Spence is the one that it's like when you have that one you can't control, you just want to get rid of the problem. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel that, you know, sanctioning bodies, man, they take 3%, but no more than I think like 200,000 or something like that. But they take a good chunk of money out of your fight purse, you know. But it's not just 3%. It's 3% or no more than a certain amount. It's capped off at a certain amount. I think it's 250,000 is the cap. I haven't read. I read it all like 6-7 months ago on a couple of those sanctioned bodies, but I can't remember exactly what they say. But I know that if you have, you know, basically $1 million, they're not taking the whole 3% of the 1 million. I think it's as long as it doesn't exceed like 200, like I think it's 250,000 or something. But anyway, it's still a lot of damn money. And you figure if you have somebody who has 4 belts, you know, that's $1 million gone. So I didn't really like the way they explained that. They didn't explain that right. Some of these guys doing YouTube videos, they're not explaining it the correct way. You know, you actually got to go out there to the IBF, WBA, WBO, and WBC. Go out to their websites and read it about titles and sanctioning fees. And it's very black and white, very specific. It's an easy read. It doesn't have all that complicated verbiage. It's a straightforward read. Even the loser pays $2,000. Yeah, I was just about to get on that. Even the loser, he has to pay. Well, so both fighters have to pay just to fight in a title fight. But even the loser still ends up paying. So, and then there's the promoter has to pay certain fees just to be. I think it's an annual fee or something just to be enrolled in the WBC. Like this some shit, man. You know, I've done a video on it, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of different fees that go to sanctioning bodies. It's not just the fighter person. The manager pays some shit, the promoter pays something, then the fighters. And there's like, I think it's an annual fee that the promoter has to pay. It's something crazy. But it's even when you look at these fights, when you go to purse bid, everyone who bids on the fight, once you bid, you don't get your money back if you don't win the purse bid. Your money is basically gone. So that's another money grab for sanctioning bodies. So, and what I'm telling you is a fact. Like, I'm not just making that up. That's a fact what I'm telling you. So it's a little disturbing. The promoter pays $5 to $7K before the fight. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how much, but I know they pay. The promoter has to pay money. I read that across those sanctioning bodies. I went onto their websites and read through their regulations, and that blew my mind. I did not know that. WBC Suleiman is a Batiman, yeah. Suleiman's in the middle of everything, man. You know, Suleiman is he's all about his money, man. He'll do and say anything. He's probably the damn leader of the secret society. You know what I'm saying? Serious, man. That damn Mauricio Suleiman. But this goes back to what we talked about, is that corruption in boxing. And that's why you see some of these promoters want to rub elbows with different presidents of these sanctioning bodies, because that means that, you know, it guarantees their guys' fights. You look at the videos I've done talking about Don King and Bob Arum back in the day. You go and you take a look at that. Look at that video. And the articles that I found and I reported on. And Bob Arum and Don King, this thing they call consultation fees, that's not something new, people. The consultation fee, that's been around for a long time. That's just a way for these promoters to pay money to different people or wash it through that person and get it to these sanctioning bodies to get their fighters in position for title fights. So that's something that Bob Arum and Don King were both accused of and had lawsuits filed and ended up having to pay fines or pay settlements about. That happened years ago. So it happens all the time. It's nothing new, man. They said Charlo hasn't fought in 2 years, still got the title. Yeah, but he's had some stuff going on. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule, you know. It's just like having somebody, you got 2 people, you got 10 people in your office and 2 people keep coming to work late. One person, you write them up every time, and the other one you don't. And then everyone wonders, why are you letting this one come to work late? Well, this person's coming to work late because his dad just died. And his dad lived with him. And he's trying to work through that. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be careful in how we address it. Yeah, they're both coming to work late, but let's look at the circumstances. And the other person coming to work late because they're partying like a rock star, drinking their little rum punch, and just, you know, having a bunch of little girls at their house and just don't want to show up to work on time. Both of them showing up late, but 2 different situations. So we're gonna put a foot in this one's ass, and the other one, we're gonna talk to them. We may document it, but it's more to try to get them the help they need, because you know you can't just sit there, man, and address them both the same way. You just can't do that. Hood, I've never seen a fighter keep his titles without defending them. And I'm gonna tell you this, man. We don't know everything that's going on with Jermell, but we know that there's obviously some stuff going on in his personal life. And if you guys have seen those videos with his wife or ex-wife or whatever she is, you see some of those videos, and with the kids and stuff. It's for me, man. I feel bad for him, for her, and those kids to just know they're going through that and have their personal business put out there in the world like that. But I do agree they should have at least made him champion in recess and let people fight for the titles. And then when he comes back, kind of like Keith Thurman, you know, let him come back and get an opportunity to fight for it. But that's what they should have done, in my opinion. You know, hey, no hard feelings. You got personal things going on, but we need to, you know, keep the party going. We're gonna put the belts out there, let people fight for it. And when you get through your little situation, you come on back and you fight, you know? Very simple. You know what I'm saying? Very simple. It's been champs that kept it even longer. Yeah, I don't know who kept it longer. I don't know who kept it longer than that. Who wins, Jalil Zhang or Frank Sanchez? I think Jalil Zhang has a chance to beat everybody. If he doesn't get tired, Jalil Zhang can fight. If he doesn't get tired, Jalil Zhang will beat everybody. I think he will beat everybody. I like Jalil Zhang, and he hits hard, and he's a slick southpaw. You just gotta worry about his stamina, man. That's my only concern. But that being said, man, let me jump out here and get this workout in. It says 2 years is a long time. He should vacate them titles. Personal has nothing to do with fighting. I agree with you, Victor. I don't disagree. I think he should have been made champion in recess. You know, I gotta understand his circumstances, man. But make him champion in recess. Let people fight for the title, and then he comes back as a, you know, challenger, the mandatory, and he gets a shot. I mean, that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. With that being said, man, please hit the like button. Consider donating. I gotta go work out. I gotta go home and barbecue, and I'll get back on live this evening, and I'll be back home in my office, and we'll do a proper live. And just breeze and talk about some of everything. Because I want to talk about Clarissa Shields. Because Clarissa Shields been out here talking a whole lot lately about sex and about this and that. And these females at weigh-ins coming out there with body paint and the breasts hanging out and, you know, crazy stuff going on. I'm like, okay, what's next for female boxing? You know what I mean? Like, do y'all agree that the women in boxing, should they cover themselves up a little more? Or should they be allowed to basically come out there like a bikini contest? I'm not saying I'm complaining. I'm just like, yo, they want to be respected. But, you know, they got some dudes out here that take it to the stupid. It says Ray Vargas was 2 years, kept title, Thurman as well, but eventually got stripped, but he was just refusing to fight. Yeah, I hear you. But that being said, let me jump off, man. I'll stay out here all day, but I got to go exercise. Y'all keep cool. Eat something good. Happy Father's Day. I'll be back on in about 6-7 hours. All right? In the breeze.